Before I start this video, I'm just reminding you that I'm only uploading one vid every 2 months till I get 1,075 subscribers. And I have some announcements at the end. Now, onto the video.
Why are there so many Catholics in Ukraine? And I don't mean Roman Catholics, but like Greek Catholics or any other Eastern Catholics, distinct from Orthodox Christians.
In the 14th century, the Grand Duchy of Lithuania was expanding rapidly over territories that are now Belarus, Ukraine, and the westernmost parts of Russia, all of which were majority Eastern Orthodox Christian. 3/4 of the Grand Duchy's population was Orthodox. Lithuania, although militarily strong and politically astute, was culturally weak. So East Slavic culture, which was heavily tied to Orthodox Christianity, made inroads into Lithuanian culture, to such an extent that the Lithuanian chancelry language was Old Belorussian, and the Lithuanian aristocracy worried that their identity as Lithuanians would be overwhelmed by their East Slavic subjects. When it was no longer viable for Lithuania to remain polytheistic, the Lithuanians chose Catholicism through Poland over Orthodoxy in 1386, with the Union of Krevo. This was despite the fact that 75% of their population was Orthodox, since their chief national concern was dealing with the Catholic Teutonic Knights who justified their desire to conquer Lithuania with the fact that Lithuanians weren't adherents of Latin Christianity. This removed the Knights' justification of war, and since the Union of Krevo also formed a dynastic union with Poland, it gave the Lithuanians an ally to resist any further attacks, and all of a sudden, losing their culture hardly mattered. The culture of Poland was in a stronger state of development than that of both Lithuania and Ruthenia. Ruthenia was comprised of the majority Orthodox parts of the Grand Duchy, so Lithuanians quickly found themselves in the same position in relation to the Ruthenian. The more they interacted with Poles and the Polish system, the more Polish culture spread through Lithuanian and Ruthenian lands. Many Catholic Lithuanian nobles ended up Polonized. The common language for the nobility became Polish, and they integrated into Polish culture, which brings us to the other segment of this video. When the Grand Duchy of Lithuania accepted formal political union in 1569 with the Kingdom of Poland to produce the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, it enshrined Catholicism as one of the fundamental conditions of being accepted into the political nation of the noble estate of the realm. All this alongside the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth being under the influence of the Counter-Reformation meant that by the latter part of the 16th century, the influence of the Orthodox Church on politics, society, and consequently on financial benefits for its members throughout the Commonwealth was in sharp decline due to the spread of Polish cultural influences eastward. The Orthodox were being turned into second-class non-citizens in their own lands. The Orthodox were discriminated in political offices and had restrictions on living in certain cities doing Orthodox practices like the ringing of bells, and being Catholic meant being Polish. This drift sapped the intellectual strength of the Orthodox community, which in turn maintained the reasons to drift to Catholicism. Ruthenian Orthodoxy was isolated. Constantinople, which was the most important city in the Orthodox world, had been in the hands of the Islamic Ottoman Empire for over a century by this point, and the Duchy of Moscow was yet to be in a position to influence beyond its own borders, and many of the Orthodox in the Commonwealth didn't want to work with the Patriarch in Moscow. I have come across two hypotheses for this. Moscow was constantly at war with Poland, Lithuania, and wanted to use the Orthodox Church to take their claims over all its Orthodox lands. And while there were those who supported Moscow during the wars with the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and Moscow's rulers also stoked conflict by claiming to be defenders of Orthodox Christianity, in general, Moscow was seen as a barbaric nation whose rule could be even worse even if they are of the same religion as those in Ruthenia. All bishops of the Orthodox Church are equal. Only the Patriarch of Constantinople was the first among equals. When the Ottomans took over the Byzantine Empire, the Russians assumed its mantle. As early as 1448, the Metropolitan of Moscow proclaimed autonomy from Constantinople, which only was more outspoken after 1453. Eventually, in 1589, the Patriarchate of Moscow was established, but already since 1444, the Metropolitan of of Moscow was saying all Orthodox churches among the East Slavs were primarily subject to him. Not everyone accepted that. So the Orthodox in Poland-Lithuania began considering a reunion with the Church of Rome. To be accepted by the Polish king, the very Catholic Zygmunt III Vasa, by doing a deal with the Pope to accept his leadership and a couple of high-level doctrinal matters. In maintaining the Orthodox rites, the Union of Brest was enforced, and 4 out of 9 bishops of the Eastern Orthodox Church in Ruthenia gathered in synod and signed a declaration of their readiness to reunite, becoming uniates, or Catholics that aren't Roman Catholics. Eventually, all Ruthenian Orthodox bishops accepted the union. However, in Polish society, the uniates were not accepted as full Catholics. The Union of Brest was hoped to stem the drift to formal Catholicism. If a Ruthenian aristocrat wanted to tap into the full benefits of the political nation, there was no alternative to conversion to Roman Catholicism. You see, Polish society never accepted the uniates as proper Catholics. Uniates continued to be discriminated against. The right to be accepted into the political ranks were not recognized, and they missed out on land allocations in the Ukraine. And up until this point, many who lived not just in Ruthenia but also Lithuania were Eastern Orthodox. At first the union appeared to be successful, but soon it lost much of its initial support. Its enforcement and other instances of persecution and discrimination provoked several uprisings, particularly the Khmelnytsky uprising. The video you just saw is a part of a playlist with vids by other YouTubers about religious conflict in Europe during the period between 1517 and 1648. The link to it is in the description. And check out these other YouTube channels of mine. And check out the YouTube channel Cultured Ginny. I highly recommend him. He makes similar content to me, and he was the one at the beginning of this video. The link to his channel is in the description.